Hello guys, my name is SharpWind and today I'll be showing you how to rig stuff. Well, the title basically says how parenting works, but that's basically the entire secret of rigging, so it's a pretty big deal. Now before we begin, I want you to hit that subscribe button and be notified for more. Thank you Fryzzle for suggesting the video, and now let's get into it. Okay, here I have two cubes. I want to parent them to each other. There's two ways you can do that. First, click the cube you want to parent and then go to hierarchy, whatever this thing is. Click the parent and select the second cube. Now it's parented. Second thing how you can do it is much more simple. You basically just drag the cube and place it on top of the other one. Now as you see, as the cube is parented, it just moved away. While the cube is 100% away from the center. If I undo this change, wait, it's still 100 units away. If I redo, it's still 100 units away. What does this change? Well, basically, as the cube is parented, this cube is now the center. So now it's 100 units away from this cube, which is 50 units away from the center. If you want this cube to be closer to your center, you gotta remove this 50 here, or remove 50 away from here. So 100 minus 50 is 50, and now it should be in the same place as it was before I parented. If you want the cube to be in the center, basically just put this to 0 and it's here. Okay, what you can also do is select the lower cube, and in here you have the inherit options. This will set how this cube will act, depending on the parent. You can make it not inherit position at all. Now this cube is 50 units away from the center, as if this position wasn't real. If I click position on, it's now 75 units away from this cube. If I turn this off, it's 75% unit from the 75 units away from the world center, which is somewhere here. But now, if I move the parent cube around, this cube won't move because it didn't inherit position. However, if I make it inherit position and move this one, they will both move, as well as rotate and scale. Now I can customize everything I want. I can make it not inherit rotation, and now as I rotate this one, it will remain the same. It still moves because of the position thing, but it won't rotate. They're now facing the same way. As I rotate this around, notice this cube is still facing the same way. It's not inheriting position, and it makes it look pretty cool, actually. Yo, imagine seeing this. Okay, slower, but imagine seeing this. This would be pretty cool. Okay, let's put rotation back on. We all know there's something called a custom rotation point, which is located here. And this can basically help you scale your object from the center or any other point you want, basically. Now let's say you made a really complex rig and then you messed up. You see it scales from the side. You're like, oh, I should adjust my custom rotation point. I don't want it to scale from here, I want it to scale from the center. No problem, I will change the custom rotation point. Oh wait, the rest of the rig is not moving. Worry not, you can still fix this. Just click on the cube and click inherit rotation point. Now it moved up because its rotation point is still funny, but now if I move the rotation point down, as you see, the cube moves with it. Now we'll try to fix this. Let's say 0. There. Works just fine. Next thing you can inherit is scale. If I take this off, nothing changes. If I scale this, however, the cube will still move because it has position inherited, but it will not scale itself. If I take position off itself, it's gonna stay in place, as if nothing happened. Next thing is alpha, which is pretty self-explanatory. Basically, you can alpha both of them down, not just one, as it's set by default. Then you can inherit color, which is basically giving both of them color, not just one. Then visibility. Now I can make stuff invisible without the other one becoming invisible. If I take this on, as you see, they both become invisible. Next thing is bend, but that only works with bendable objects. Let's say you lock the right arm of Steve on another right arm of Steve. Now you locked it on the lower half or the upper half, however you want. But while it's on the lower half, you can bend it and it acts like you're holding it. If I lock it on the upper half, it acts like nothing happens. Well, now I can tick bend on, so now they both bend. Basically, they now both bend. If I copy this again and paste it down, now all three of them will bend. If I also gave the lower ones inherit color, and then change the color of them, I just made like a red eyebrow, like this is it. But this is usually done with the bodies because it prevents this little glitch thing. So if you want to make eyebrows, just use bodies instead of arms. This is basically all you need to do. And finally, you can use textures, but none of them use them. If you were to have this parent using a texture, the other one would inherit the texture as well. Now a fun trick, if you want to use my overlapping technique and want to rotate the object, you can tick position off. Basically, you can tick everything off and then go to the cube and rotate it. They will both rotate. Let's say you have this cube somewhere down there and you hide this cube underground, let's say. Then you need a smooth rotation thing. Let's say this cube makes a turn, give it a smooth transition, and from here to here, this will rotate in the other way. Now I can give both of them transitions, and it actually looks smoother than what you would do in your animation. Okay, so I made a quick rig to demonstrate all this. The handle looks nice, but then I got lazy and this happened. Well, the main thing is demonstration. This spear thing is nothing but a folder, so we can just open this and we have the handle, which has the custom rotation point of 0, so if I want to rotate it and slash with this, I can. It works fine. Now the next thing, I put a folder called bottom on there, and in the folder I locked everything that doesn't include the upper half and the blades. So inside the bottom there are two sides which don't inherit scale, so I can just increase the measurements a bit and make them hug this little handle thing. On the side there's this transformation thing, well, transition, not transformation, which basically serves as a transition from flat to a nice little thing here. Basically, it's got inherit color, so it inherits the color from this. Also has inherit scale, because if it didn't, this would happen. And we don't want that. So as it has inherit scale, the X and the Y are equal to the parameter of this cylinder. With the scale on, I basically just adjusted the Y, because it was like this. Then I just scaled the Y down and got this nice transition thing. That's for the bottom half, but then I added a sphere and called it an upper half. This is basically this gray middle thing. I also gave it inherit color, but since this one is locked on the handle, it's got the color of the handle, which is a little brighter than this bottom thing and this side. What's interesting here is in the upper sphere, there's a color here, which is also a sphere. What I did is copy the upper and scaled it slightly down. There's a tiny little sphere which is purple in here, and this basically gives out all the color. Next to this I have 3 blades, which are basically just resized cones because I was lazy, and they all have inherit color on. So basically all of them are gonna inherit color from the next element, which is this one. So if I change the color of this one, the blades are also gonna change. And this is a simple way to make a rig. They will all inherit color from this one little object, which is hidden and you can't even see it. What's more, that this color here doesn't have the inherit color, because if it did, it would inherit color from this upper thing, which inherits color from the handle. So if I try to click the color here and make it inherit color, the colors get funny because it tries to inherit the color from the handle, but it's got colors on their own. This makes some funny results. So basically, don't do that. Let's just keep it as it is, and this is basically the parenting. Now I was really impatient and I just threw the sphere in the folder. This folder's rotation point does not suit me. How do I do this? Well, luckily now the folders also have a custom rotation point, but it seems to be broken somehow. So what I can do is move the handle down to 0 because everything is locked on the handle, and now the sphere has its own rotation point as well. Now if I lift this, it moves with the folder as well. I can still slash and stuff with it and it looks nice. If I want to give the sphere like a custom scaling thing or something, I would put the sphere in yet another folder and name it, let's say, scale. Now this sphere thing will inherit scale and position and rotation and everything. If I scale this now, it will scale from the center up and mess things up. I don't want that, so I'm gonna click inherit position and rotation off, and maybe even invisibility, like visibility. Then if I scale this, it's just gonna scale from the center where the handle is. But the problem is, the sides don't inherit the scale. I could make them inherit the scale, but then I have to adjust everything. Let's say 1, 1. Now that everything is on 1, it's got the exact same dimensions as the handle. Basically, it's completely the same. I want to make this bigger, so 1.15. Now it's slightly bigger, 1.15 in both directions. But it's still a bit different because it's the percentual value of the handle, and I have to adjust it once again. Like, this doesn't suit me, so I had to increase it like twice as much to get the same results, which isn't that bad actually. Now this bottom thing, I don't want it so big, so this all inherits scale. Now let's make one of the sides not inherit scale, and it messes up. Now I have to adjust these ones, so 1, 1, 1, now they're on the same side, 1.30, and scale the Y down, and basically now I have it. For some reason I scaled the folder up, which of course messed things up. I don't know why that happened. Now let's fix this one the same way. Okay, scale it down, and now as I scale the scale thing, it shouldn't break. Basically that's it. Except this little sphere here, it's got different values yet again, and you would have to adjust the values of this sphere. Basically, my point is that you know how this works. I could put this in another folder, call it rotation, and then make the scale inherit everything, nothing but the rotation. Now if I would rotate the folder, this would do nothing because this doesn't inherit rotation. It's a complicated process, but you should probably put this rotation thing on the sphere here and maybe mess around with the settings, because this doesn't inherit rotation while it should. But now it will inherit rotation from the scale as well. You see my problem? This is why rigging is complicated, and it's therefore the most highly paid job in animation. Good luck guys, now you know how the parenting works, and now you should be able to make awesome products. Thank you for watching, and suggest ideas in the comments. I'll be more than glad to make them. Again, subscribe for the channel to help us out, and stay sharp. See ya.